Hello, my friends. Welcome to Walking with J.Beau, an almost daily walking vlog. Today, we're walking after having a ton of rain. As you can see, the flooding. The sun is out. It's actually almost 55 degrees. Very nice day. A little windy today, so it doesn't quite feel as warm as 55 should. But I am wearing just a long sleeve with a t-shirt on top. And I also brought a hoodie with me, which I'm probably going to end up putting on. We shall see. Looks like the weather is so nice, the pickleballers are out pickleballing. So, don't have a whole hell of a lot to talk about today. We still have the drone mystery in New Jersey going on. The government is being emphatic that people are just seeing airplanes and domestic drones, and people aren't seeing what they see. And don't you just love it when the government tells you that you're not seeing what you're actually seeing? So that's what they're doing. And we are also, we have that, first of all, before I get into this, the legal experts have pretty much all agreed unanimously that Trump's sentencing for that ridiculous case in New York with Judge Juan Merchan, he has refused to say that Trump's immunity clause impacts that trial at all, when in fact people that worked in the White House, Trump was president at the time, evidence from their conversations were used in the trial. For one of the crimes, which the statute of limitations had run out on, and shouldn't have even been allowed to be used to tie in with the other crime to make it felonies, to make those felonies. So this is a bunch of friggin' nonsense. And so what it means is this was a motion to dismiss, which Juan Merchan says it's not going to be dismissed. So I gotta stop and tie my shoe. Be right back. Anyway, as I was saying, Judge Juan Merchan seems to have decided that the case should not be dismissed, but he still has to do a sentencing, and I don't see that happening anytime soon. And On top of that, we're going to have Trump get sworn in, and most experts agree that nothing is ever going to come from this. He's never going to be sentenced. So basically he's just being a jerk to Trump to be a jerk. I guess the maximum sentence that Trump could get anyway would be 4 years, and being as this would be considered his first criminal offense, probably not going to get any jail time. And this is going to go away anyway, as mentioned. Most experts agree on that. In fact, just about all of them, even the ones that hate him. And this is also going to go to the appellate court in New York, and it may even end up going to the Supreme Court again. So, if it doesn't get past the appellate court, which I'm sure it will, for the reasons I mentioned, Trump absolutely should not have been prosecuted on that. Most experts agree. For one thing, one of the crimes they used, the statute of limitations had run out. They used it anyway, saying that it's a technicality because the other crime supersedes that. In New York, you tie 2 misdemeanor crimes together as some kind of conspiracy to commit a crime, and that's a felony. And he's guilty of falsifying business records, a misdemeanor offense, bumped up to felonies because of the other thing. And they charged him a felony charge for every mistake made in the ledgers. So this was clearly just an attack on Trump to harass him while he was running for president, to make sure he wouldn't win. That obviously did not work out for them. And now they look stupid, and they have left a judicial system bruised, abused, and damaged. But thankfully, that's part of the reason why Trump won. So, part of the reason. So anyway, we won. Trump has a right to be upset and ticked off at that. And I hope when he becomes president, he makes their life shit. That's what I hope. And he probably can. So, anyway, I'm going to walk on. I'm going to do about 5.5 miles, somewhere thereabouts. 5 3/4, more than likely. I am going to flip the camera. Hi everybody. See, miraculously, it's springtime in the middle of December. So I'm starting to sweat right now. I brought a hoodie, but right now it's feeling like I'm not going to need it. But you never know, and I knew it was kind of breezy today. So I'm dressed for spring. Cut across here. I look both ways before crossing the street. So this must look kind of funny because what, 2, maybe 3 days ago I had my face covered because it was like really cold. And now 55 degrees feels like summer. Looks like I gotta trim my hair soon around the back. Not the length though, but just the sides. If you're new to walking with me, I stopped cutting my hair. Well, I sort of trimmed it up here and there, thinned it out. But I've been growing it out since May, I think. And we're finally starting to get some length going. And just for something different, because I had the Tighten trim 90s style haircut for the longest time. And it's like, well, I don't want to be one of those guys that get older and they've had the same haircut for 40 years. And if you do that, nothing wrong with that. I just don't want to do that. So I was like, well, I'm going to go back to kind of a 70s kind of look. So this is a pretty steep hill right here. Whew. I guess the blood flowing. So the Trump flags are waving today. Looks nice. Got another one up ahead. Yeah, so I don't know what the hell's going on with the drones, but I do know it's not our imagination. And the government is playing so dumb that they look foolish doing it at this point. It's so obvious they're not telling the truth. You know, I hadn't thought about it, but there's a Trump flag. So I hadn't thought about it, but somebody pointed out online that they made a movie about that, where a nuclear bomb was going to be detonated in the United States to be so they could blame it on Russia and have a war. I guess that's the plot line for the movie Sum of All Fears. Who was that in there? I want to say Kiefer Sutherland. I think it was him. I don't think I've ever watched that movie. Probably pretty good. But kind of like the Obama era movies. You could tell the political mindset at the time. This stuff was done as fantasy with nobody thinking it could ever happen. Yet here we are, right? So what I'm happy about is going on these walks. Did not, as we see, we got some Christmas. Get some Christmas decor. Going on these walks, not thinking that I would be walking at this point still, even though I had mentioned the Farmer's Almanac said we would be milder than normal for a lot of December. That's turned out to be true. We have had a couple of stretches where temperatures were normal and cold, but I'm happy about the shape that I've gotten in walking. And I wish my selfie stick would stay open. Anyway. This is my part of the walk. It's pretty much all a hill. Almost at the top. Yeah, so we learned a little bit more about the girl that did that mass shooting, Madison, Wisconsin. We found out that she's a radical feminist. She left a note before doing the shooting, typed out, I guess, somewhere, or an email, that she hated men. Men were all evil. They should all be killed. And she said she was about to do her deed, and said she was doing her small part to get rid of men. She also wrote that the world should be rid of men. All of them, she said, which automatically should strike you as odd, considering that if all men were gone, there would be no more women once they died off. So I'd say that was crazy thought, bona fide lunacy. Radicalized by the far left. She is textbook what you would call a rad femme, radical feminist. Rad femmes hate everybody that's male. Doesn't matter if you're trans, gay, straight, bi, grandpa. She said everybody, including children. She talked about getting rid of children that are boys. So she was definitely over the moon loony. And that's the way that goes. All right, coming up on the top of the hill. So anyways, if you got a chance to watch Trump's press conference yesterday, you should check it out. It's rather lengthy, but he answers a lot of questions. And the media is being more cordial towards him. Very noticeable. The people that used to hate him are talking with him. And Trump commented on that. He said, well, I don't really know what to make of it, to be honest with you. A lot of the usual regurgitated talking points and style in talking in the media has been dramatically reduced. I'll give you an example. They'll say something like, Trump is suing the news media, that Iowa newspaper that came out with a obviously dishonest poll to try to skewer the female vote across the country to make it look like Trump was losing. And that was just before the voting day. So Trump filed a lawsuit saying it was election interference and this and that. We'll see what comes of it. But typically what they do is, watch this car coming here. So it's like election interference. The media, for example, they would do things like like talking about this newspaper lawsuit he just filed, because he just won the one against ABC and George Sloppitopoulos, $15 million, which is going to go towards the Trump Presidential Library when he's done. So, thanks, George. Anyway, that's what you get for illegally calling him a rapist, something he was not on trial for and wasn't convicted of. So things like that resonate through the industry, and even shows like The View have issued statements when they criticize people like Pete Hegseth of stating that corrections and taking comments back, because legally they need to apologize for that, or the libel. So now my personal opinion is the newspaper in Iowa, you had the media talking about it today, and oh look, a snowman lost his nose. Look at that. It's gone. Somewhere there's a noseless snowman. But anyway, they were talking about this Iowa newspaper and the person that did a poll for that. And the person that did a poll for that is a respected pollster, supposedly. But they said that Trump was losing Iowa by 15 points. Trump was leading in Iowa by 10, 11 points. And in fact, I think that's what he ended up winning by. So it was wildly inaccurate, so it looks like it was done intentionally. And I think the person that did it ruined her reputation doing that. And so anyway, CNN's talking about it. And the way they talked about it was they said, well, Trump is litigious in nature, which is true. Trump has filed a lot of lawsuits in his lifetime. It's one of the tools he uses. Most of the time not successful, but sometimes it is. So CNN in the past would have said, well, because you know how Trump is. He's shallow, selfish, self-centered, he's a narcissist, and he's this, that, and the other, wants to be a dictator, and he's a Nazi orange Hitler. And then they would talk about the newspaper story. Well, they're not doing that anymore. They're just talking about the newspaper story, and the worst that they said was Trump likes to sue people anyway. So that's a big difference. But I think the word has gone out from the CEOs of these companies that what you're doing is libel. He's not sworn in yet either. So Trump is still a citizen. So, and it's libelous to say things like that. So anyway, we'll see what happens with everything. And I got a pretty good sweat going right now. It is warm today. Peace, everybody. That's what we want, right? So it looks like it's going to be Christmas time in less than 10 days. In the mid-50s. People are in the Christmas mood this year. They really are. That's really good to see too. I'm really happy about that. I can feel my back getting sweaty. And this is like in the summertime, I would have like sweat running down the middle of my back, my lower back, and it's starting to feel like that now. So it's kind of nice. Somebody just went by speeding. Almost always a female in her 20s. I'm not saying it to be sexist. I'm just saying that a lot of females like the adrenaline rush from speeding, which is understandable. Everybody likes that. But a lot of times it's being done inappropriately in the wrong places. And hopefully they don't get in an accident. A lot of young men do that too. But from walking, I'm just going by my experience. And again, I don't want to make women angry with me. I'm just saying that certain age group of females, they'll drive right behind the trunk of somebody in front of them, tailgating without realizing they're doing anything wrong, because they feel like they can handle it. And that woman that just went by me, I could see she was about 23, 24, and she was driving way too fast. And when I see young men doing that with their souped up cars, they will actually slow down a bit and they will pull over the line to avoid where I am. The women, though, they don't stop. They just keep going fast. And that's just something I've noticed from hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of walks. So there are a lot of things that get noticed when you do something repetitively like that maybe you wouldn't notice otherwise. Nice shot of the woods today. Guess I'll switch the camera around. Sorry about that. I've hit over 2 miles. Walking is really good to keep you in shape, cardiovascular wise, if you're not running, which the cardio benefits of running are absolutely the best, but it's not good for your joints. Even when you're young, because even the best runners who have gotten in the most time started when they were young. They ran through their whole lives, and then when they get to be over 40, 45, their body starts to give out on them. And that's not to say you shouldn't run, but what I'm saying is you shouldn't push yourself to do what you did when you were 20. And I think a lot of the problem is people don't want to admit they're getting old. And you know, I used to be able to walk 10, 15, 20 miles and without having stamina built up for it. That's just youthful exuberance. Riding bikes, you know, 20, 30 miles. But, you know, it's okay to say, you know, if I do that now, it's going to inflame my joints. I'll be limping around for a couple of weeks. I mean, I could probably still do it. I mean, one day we walked 9 miles and that was fine. I could have walked some more. But when you decide to walk like every day and you're doing repetitiveness, that turns into between 30 and 40 miles a week when you get to walk every day. So that's walking added to the normal walking that you do every day. I don't record those walking. I only turn on my app when I go for my walks. So I do have my extra battery today, which I forgot yesterday and the day before. Yesterday I didn't run out of juice because part of the walk was at night. Actually, the whole walk was at night last night. So I saw an interesting video yesterday. It was an alligator in a swamp in Florida. Okay, what's interesting about that? They have tons of alligators in Florida and swamps. Well, this one was in a marsh, a glade as they're called, and somebody was flying a drone to get video footage of the alligator. They got a little too close, and the alligator does what alligators do. Alligators do snatch birds out of the air. They leap, lurch ahead out of the water, and attack prey. So this giant dragonfly looking thing was hovering there, and the alligator was like, well, I'm kind of hungry, so I'm going to eat that. The drone looked like it was about the size an alligator could eat and swallow. So he leaches up, lurches, bites the drone. Of course, the drone's propellers stop. A couple of them anyway. A couple of them kept spinning. So what happened is the alligator, I guess, thought whatever it was he was biting was still alive and fighting him. So he bit down even harder. And guess what happened? The battery in the drone exploded, literally. There was smoke and fire in the alligator's mouth, and the alligator wouldn't give up on it. It was trying to swallow it. So I don't know what became of the alligator, but apparently, I guess, it's a crime to harm them. Maybe it was in a protected preserve or something. I don't know, but one of the people that was on camera in the background said, I think we should get out of here. So I thought that was interesting. So anyway, I've also seen an instance where those lithium batteries, there was a guy working out in a gym, and he put the weight down. He lost his balance and he dropped his weight, and the weight landed on his phone, smashed his screen. And he does what everybody would do. Oh damn, that sucks. I just broke my phone. I gotta go get another one for $1,000 or whatever. And then the thing starts smoking, and it burst into flames. He picked it up and hurried up and carried it outside and got rid of it. But when you rupture those batteries, they explode. So I mean, I didn't know they exploded, like literally exploded like that, but we saw that happen with the Israelis that hacked Hamas's phones and caused their batteries to blow up in their pagers. And they were also doing the same thing with phones. So, pretty incredible technology to do that. So that was interesting. But those things really do blow up. They do. And they cause damage and severe burns. So I felt bad for the alligator. be coming up close to 3 miles shortly. It's a nice day. Some of the sunshine's disappeared though, unfortunately. But it's nice. Probably about 50 degrees right now. It's cooled off a little bit. As soon as the sun goes away, that's it. Oh, sorry about that. Had to adjust one of my pockets. So I've noticed something on the internet, which is kind of disheartening, is it seemed like everybody was pretty unified in the election, voting for Trump. A whole bunch of people from different ethnic backgrounds, diverse groups. And I've noticed that some of the hardcore conservatives are now turning on these people and being mean to them. And it kind of pisses me off. And I need to talk about it. These people, and I'm talking about the LGBT community and feminists, people that were on the left are now independent because they realize the left is a bunch of loons, just like we realize it. And they voted for Trump. And they've been friends with people on the right. Now, most of the people on the right are still okay, but some of these people are turning on these people and being mean to them online. Almost like, well, your vote's not needed now, so now I'm going to go back to hating you. And it's really sad to see, because every time somebody does that, it tells somebody on the left that it's okay to go, see, we told you they were racist and bigots. See, why did you side with them? So, if you go online, stop doing that. Just stop. If they're a lefty loon and they're speaking lefty lunacy, then criticize them for that, but don't bring up what they are as an attack tool. We got to stop doing that. The problem is they're on the left. Neo-Marxism, socialism, not their sexuality, not their skin color, not the fact that they are from China and they speak with a heavy Chinese accent, even though they've become a citizen. We don't make fun of people for that. Stop doing that stupid stuff. That's all I'm going to say about that. We're bigger and better than that, and we need to behave like it in public. So anyways, we'll get this presidency going, and things would be good. Now, today is the day that the Electoral College gets underway. So many states in the country, they've started tallying their electoral votes. I'm sure Colorado is going to be pissed. Trump didn't win Colorado, okay? But Colorado passed a law saying that the popular vote winner gets their electoral college votes, thinking that it would never be a Republican or Trump. So now they have to honor that. I just thought of that just now. I haven't looked into it yet, so that's going to be fun to look into later. I actually am going to see what they're doing. I think there's a couple other states that did that too. So, on election night, we had the electoral college vote, right? 270 to win. And those are the electoral college votes in each state during the election. Get tallied up, and it determines who the next president is. So now it's going to be interesting to see what Colorado does, if they're going to honor that and actually give Trump more electoral college votes than he won on election night. Isn't this interesting, folks? So, flip this around. So that's the kind of thing, that's the kind of thing we always tell them. Why are you guys messing with this stuff? Don't you know that could come back to hurt you too? Ho, 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 ho. Trump's never gonna win the electoral college or popular vote. He's never gonna win the popular vote. Well, he did. But I don't even think they had the courage to base that on the national popular vote total. I think they based that on the popular vote total of Colorado. So if that's the case, it makes no sense to have a law to begin with if that's the case. So it has to be the national, right? Because let's say your state votes overwhelmingly for Kamala Harris and Trump wins the popular vote. So what's the point of voting for the popular vote when, if your state wins, Kamala wins in your state, that means she won the popular vote in your state, right? So that seems to be their way of thinking on this. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what it looks like, because I can't really see any other point in doing it. So it has to be based on the national vote. And it did go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said that a state is allowed to do that because they're not getting rid of the electoral college, which is constitutional. They're not getting rid of it. They're just determining a different way of distributing them. And states run their own elections, so they have a right to do that. So, ooh, my arm's falling asleep. Carrying the selfie stick. Small price to pay for fame on YouTube, right? All 12 people watching might be thrilled. Anyway, I just do this because I like it. And so anyway, Colorado also signed on with the Interstate Electoral College Pact. So this is separate from that. This isn't the same argument as the Electoral College Pact, Interstate Pact, which a whole bunch of states agree that as soon as there's enough to make 270 in the different states that participate, that their electoral college votes will be awarded to the national popular vote winner. I wonder how many of them are going to change their tune now, because nobody had won the popular vote since George Bush. So many of these young people have grown up never seeing Republicans win a popular vote, and they thought, well, we'll just give it to the popular vote winner and the Republicans will never have another president. So anyway, Colorado legislature on its own, as well as Massachusetts, I think, and Connecticut, there's other states, have pledged that the popular vote winner would get their electoral college votes separate from that pact. So I want to snoop in and see what's going on with that and see exactly how that works. Make sure I have all my information correct. If you know any alternate information than what I said, because as always on my walks, I always tell you, I am not right about everything, and I'm a human being. So if you know something about it, bring up a conversation about it. And also want to thank somebody for leaving a very long comment on one of my walks the other day. I really appreciate that. Talking about how they're banging on the same wavelength as I am on this stuff, especially with the drones. And I guess there's a lot of people thinking the same thing, because that's what it looks like. I mean, you don't have to be an expert in anything. It's common sense. You can blatantly tell the government's lying to us. So we had the Pentagon spokesman lie to our faces, and so has Mayorkas. And then you had Trump at a press conference Monday say that, you know, he goes, trust me, our national defense, they know exactly what these drones are and what they're doing. He says they know where they took off from and where they're landing. He said, make no mistake about that. And he said Biden knows about it. And they should make it public. They should come clean and be honest with the public. So, if they are being dishonest with the public, why are they being dishonest? Maybe it's some kind of program they thought they could do under the radar, literally, and it's something questionable they shouldn't be doing ethically, you know what I mean? And it's top secret, and they got caught, so they're denying it. They were very quick to say it was not a foreign adversary, as to not cause problems with our adversaries. So, and I believe that's the case. It's not our adversaries, it's not UFOs, it's not aliens, it's our own government. So my only thing I need to know is why. Why are they covering that up, lying about it? What are they doing? I'd like to think the safest thing would be that they just overreached ethically and are doing something stupid they shouldn't be. But I would assume that would have stopped if that were the case after the media talked about it. And now the media is not talking about it as much. And I think it's something that's bad, as I've discussed on the past couple walks, having to do with the missing nuclear warhead, which it has been rumored that one is missing. And someone had reported that one had disappeared in Ukraine and was bound for the United States. And I think they assumed that the United States government was moving it back to America. And it turns out that might not be the case. That it was Americans knowingly, as part of a military procedure that would be normal, doing that. So if it's the United States government that did that, they were very secret about it, and maybe they want their war with Russia. Maybe they won't detonate the nuke, but maybe that will break in the news that a rogue nuke is somewhere in New Jersey and New York, and they'll call for evacuations. They'll get everybody to panic. Then miraculously they will swoop in and find the nuke with these drone sniffers they've been using, and claim all the glory on preventing an active war by Russia, and then using it as an excuse to have a war with Russia. Or, the worst, they detonate the nuke, with Trump playing golf in New Jersey, killing Trump, and averting Trump being president and getting their war with Russia. That would be a drastic, dramatic move, considering that whole area would destroy our financial system, send the country into a depression that we may never come out of. But these people are crazy, so there's a lot there to think about. Having thought about it more since yesterday, I think they would probably do a nuclear bomb scare and say it was a Russian nuke, or Russians took this nuclear warhead from Ukraine and brought it to America to blow up New York City, New Jersey, that area, to try to cripple us financially, Wall Street and all that, which was the goal of dropping the World Trade Towers, by the way. They had tried to bring the towers down before with the car bomb in the parking garage. Remember that? Before that, the 1993, 97, something like that. So a lot of people have forgotten about stuff like that, but I remember everything. A lot of bad things happened when Bill Clinton was president. So anyway, well, I guess there's not too much more to bang on about that, but you know, we're having some issues. We got some people over here clearing some trees, taking a break. Maybe somebody's building a house. Might be building a house there, so it looks like, actually. So that's good. Good place to build. Usually that stuff's a matter of public record. Around here, anyway. You can go on the website and look up permits and utilities and all that stuff. I'll step off to the side here. I always try to step off to the side when possible. Make it easier for people driving. The ground's all soft right now. We had a lot of rain. A lot of snow melt too. Ground starting out. Truck is going to pick up some logs. Squirrel that just ran across the road. Yep, I could have went on this walk today without my hoodie, but I didn't know till I went on it. Looks like there's some construction going on up ahead. You got dirt and junk all over the road. Unless there was some flooding and they cleaned it up. So we'll check it out. I don't think it was flooding though. I mean, it's a low-lying area, but there's not enough of a brook there to turn into a raging torrent. I don't believe. Not here anyway. But it does look like these roads turned into mud. See that? So somebody's dragging mud. Oh, I see what they're doing. See, we've seen this before going on the other section of electronic electricity grid, going up that way. On the other side of that is where we saw all those things that look like railroad ties. They put these railroad ties down so in rainy, bad weather it doesn't all turn to mud and hamper them with getting the power back on during a storm, which I told you a couple times last year. We lost power for days because they just couldn't get to the things. So you can see they've stacked a whole ton of those railroad tie things. And what they're going to do is they're going to install them, and they're going to go up along those tracks, along those power lines, so they can do repairs when the power goes out, because they can't get to these lines very easily, as you can see. And that really caused a problem last year and the year before. And we've already had 2 rainstorms this December. One of them had wind, but thankfully did not cause damage. But I don't know how they're going to route those down there with that brook that's down there. But they have stacked the wood here, and that is new. We've not seen that. So they did the same thing down the road. You'll notice they have holes in them to string them together. I think that's what they're going to use to make one of those roads. And it is also looks like the kind of wood that they use for those beams that hold those insulators. So we'll see what they do, but the last time I saw those ties stacked like that, they ended up making a road, as we saw on the other part, on the other side down there. So they might be adding a road through here to connect to that other side. Or they may be installing them over this way. But we will definitely see, because we will be walking this route when we can. Now I'm going to cross over this way. There is a truck right there with a huge load of wood, those same ties, as you can see up ahead, and he's backing off to the side across the road. So then maybe they're going to come at those lines through the woods that way. But they are going to make a way to get to those power lines for sure. So we'll see what they're doing when we walk by up here. But this guy definitely has a big load of those wood ties. I'll just call them ties because they look like the railroad ties, but that's not what they are. So that's what's causing all this mud, because we're driving on the mud. So we'll see what they're doing. We'll go snoop. see what they're doing over here. Well, it looks like they got a pretty good sized load. Yeah, it's those sections they use for roads. They're putting in these wood roads to travel on. Hey guys, how you doing? So it looks like they're busy. Somebody over here doing a repair. Looks like. Get their toolkit out underneath the truck, doing something. Now, I'm going to cross over if I can get the traffic coming towards me again. So, you've heard me say it 1,000 times. I'll say it again. When you pick out your routes and you walk, it can be one route, could be two. I walk about 5, maybe 6 different routes, different variations, depending on the weather. I have routes that I like the best at nighttime. But you always see a lot of things going on in your neighborhood, and there's always something different going on. That's progress, folks. In the words of Hannibal Lecter, I do believe we're making progress. Now it's getting cool. Sun's getting low in the sky. So it was a beautiful day, and as always in Maine, and this time of year, it's a short day. But I hope you enjoyed the walk today. Selfie stick came apart on me. I should get a new selfie stick. So anyway, everybody, I want to say thank you for walking with me. Click like and subscribe. Share the content, and hopefully we'll all live long enough until my next walk. And if we don't, then I will see you in a better place, because the good ones, that's where they're going, and I'm going with you. Anyway, God bless everybody. Thank you for walking with me, and keep the faith, everybody. See you on the next walk. Bye bye, friends.